Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Mailbox Builders Mastermind call. And we are just about at the end of 2022. Can you believe it? Like, where did 2022 go? Like, it blew by. So we're coming up on a brand new year, a new start. We talked about goals last week and setting goals for looking at our numbers for 2022 and setting goals for 2023. Did any of you get a chance to do that? And would you like to share?
I do it the week of between Christmas and New Year's. That's my focus time.
Okay.
I actually haven't.
So you haven't done it yet. And Gloria said she hadn't, and Laura's off camera. That's okay. Just put it on your calendar to do it. Like Marie's going to do it in the down week between the two holidays. It's really good. You got to do it for taxes anyways to figure out how much you made for the year. But it's a really good time of the year. The earlier you can do it, the better, in my opinion, because you set yourself up for success earlier on. And we wanted to talk about ways to grow your business in 2023. Now, don't forget about the current year, 2022. We still have several weeks left, and it's not too late to send holiday cards and gifts and to get people started as a tax write-off for 2022. I had somebody I reached out to today and said, you know, you were talking about sending packages and I never heard back from you. And she said, oh, I thought it was too late, so I was just going to go get stuff. I'm like, it's not too late. We can do it. She's like, really? Then send me the stuff over again and I'll pick tonight and we'll do them tomorrow or the next day. So just remember, a lot of people have checked out and think that through a system like ours that they can't get it in time for the holidays, and we still have time to get it in time for the holidays. We are at December 13th. The post office says officially December 15th in order to guarantee delivery. But I know packages here in Colorado Springs now. We have some Florida people on, so it's going to take a little bit longer. But here in Colorado Springs, they're taking 3 to 4 days is all it's taken for packages. So I know to the East Coast, it's more like 7 to 9 days, right, Marie?
Yeah. For cards, I had my holiday cards mailed on the 1st, and they arrived yesterday.
Okay.
So yesterday was the 12th.
12th.
Yeah.
So basically 11 days, but I know packages have a higher priority. Right. So if you're sending gifts, they're getting there much quicker. There's a lot more letters or cards this time of year than there is packages.
Right.
Gloria?
Yeah, I sent a package. I'm part of the Baltimore Ravens roost down here in Florida. And I made, I made labels, with the sugar cookies and some brownies, and made mugs for the 2 leaders. And I tell you, I did them on a Sunday night and I got them on Friday.
Yeah.
So that was really good.
Yeah, and that's been my experience, and everybody that I'm hearing, if it's a package, as long as they aren't ordering like coffee mugs or something, and there's a huge backlog on coffee mugs on the machinery, that they are in, if it truly is able to go out the next business day instead of 2 days, people are getting them pretty quick if it's a box. So let's talk about 2023. What can you do different in 2023 to grow your business, make it easier? Because the whole point of having a business is to not work in the business, but work on the business. In other words, to be able to focus and be strategic and hire help if you need to hire help to do things that you're not good at. So what are some ideas? Do any of you have ideas on things you can do different? Maybe something you've taken away from this call or one of the other corporate calls or a training you've been in that you're like, ooh, I want to do that next year.
I find it challenging not knowing what's coming up, with the design store changing. And we've had all of these gifts on sale. So they're obviously wanting to get rid of those. So, I find it hard to figure out what I'm going to do differently, not knowing what will be different in the system.
So let me speak to that a little bit because that's your personality type.
Right. Exactly.
So, as far as I know, the designs, we're still going to have a design store. It's just going to be an all-inclusive. I don't know what designs are going to be there. It's going to be mostly automations from what I understand. Justin's told us that they are getting rid of stock that they had small quantities of. And I know that they have talked about now that they have more space, being able to have more gifts, but that they had to wait until they are in the facility and have more storage space. Because from what I understand, they were literally like crammed in like sardines with the holidays. If they added any more gifts, there was no place to put them. So there's lots of things that we can do different, whether that be social media, whether that be more networking, I know Marie is really good at email marketing and staying in touch that way. But what are some things that you've thought of, Marie, despite what gifts we have, despite what's in the design store? I want you to think strategically, any business. What are some things that you could do to grow either your customer base or your affiliate base, which ultimately grows your business?
Well, I love the whole concept of enrolling more corporate companies who are using this for their employees. They're not paying for it themselves. It's a company account, and they have no issues whatsoever with setting up automations. And thank you. And just letting that thing go. And that to me is the way to go.
So
I have two of those, and those are really good.
So how are you going to reach more of those clients? Like, look at the avatar. If you already have two, what is that customer avatar, and where can you network differently, or what organizations can you join, or seek out mailing lists of those through Mailbox Power or through associations that get you in front of those type of people, versus we've all been in front of the real estate, the insurance, the smaller. So that's a great point. And we want to do the same thing. So let's brainstorm on how do we get in front of those people? I know Nanette just signed up a corporate account.
So in my case, the two that I have were both referred to me.
And who referred them to you?
Two business coaches, actually. Yeah,
So
who were my customers.
So maybe you're looking for more business coaches, and business coaches that work with corporations, not solopreneur or small organizations. So maybe we need to look for too, organizations, associations of coaches What association can you join? Because Marie, you're a coach. You may not call yourself a coach, but I know you're a coach. You coach on all different types of things. So joining that type of an organization wouldn't be like you'd feel like a fish out of water, if that makes sense.
Right.
Now, if you're not a real estate agent and you go join real estate organizations, sometimes you feel like a fish out of water because you don't know the lingo in that, but you could easily fit in with that type of an organization. So just food for thought on maybe it's looking at those top customers we have and how do we get more of them? Where did they come from? Who sent them our way, or where did we find them? And how can we get in front of more people that refer those type of people, or in front of more of those type of organizations where we find those people?
You know, one thing that I've heard and read is that sometimes we don't make the effort to ask for referrals from current customers. So I think the fact that Marie was able to get a couple of good referrals from her customers really shows us that we really need to reach out to those to our current customers and see if we can get some kind of referrals from them. I think the other thing that we need to think about is not just thinking about groups to join, because there's only so many of those we can do because it's all face-to-face. And I know Brenda likes that, and I'm kind of partial to that too, but I think if we want to continue to grow and grow bigger, we need to identify those avatars and find ways to reach more of those kind of businesses that we want to bring into Mailbox Power. And really the only way we're going to do that is with list builders, where we can get emails from companies that we can actually start using those to actually use the email and build the list to send information out to those companies and see if you can solve any of their pain points. So that's kind of, I've just kind of jotted down a few notes, and I think those are a couple of things that we probably need to do better, is that omni-channel marketing to be able to grow our business. Up to now, it's all been kind of face-to-face.
Right. And you know, my whole world has changed in that my business world was in Northern Virginia, DC, and I'm not there anymore. And that's where all my clients are for the most part. But one thing about this company is the really big one is they have many, many locations. And that's why they wanted this, is to be able to touch their employees that they don't ever see.
Yep.
And the word that she used several times, the VP of operations, it was they want a system that will enable them to do this seamlessly. And I love that word. So, yeah.
Do you have, because it would help all of us, do you have a testimonial from them, either a video or a written testimonial of why they joined Mailbox Power and the success they've had, or why they love it?
Not as of yet. Oh.
If you could get that, it would not only be a huge benefit to you to be able to use in your marketing, but it would be a great tool for everybody, this entire group, if you could get it and you would share it. If we can all share testimonials of you know, that you've gotten, if we have, Marie might have 3 or 4, and Mike and I might have 5, and Nanette might have 2 or 3, and Andrea might have 2 or 3. Well, when we pull them all together and we have 20 or 30 testimonials, it's a lot easier when we're in front of all different types of clients to say, here, let me just play this. Let this system, let this video speak for itself. Here's somebody in your own industry or a similar industry to yours, and this is the type of success they're having. Don't take my word for it. Take one of your
Colleagues.
industry colleagues, yeah, industry partners, or colleagues' word for it. Gloria, you were going to say something earlier.
I'm going to put it out there. I feel like Marie's on the hot seat. I learned so much. I'm going to put this out there. It's kind of embarrassing because I've been in Mailbox Power for a couple of years now. I am probably one of the very few people in Mailbox Power that does not have a traditional business to use it with. I need to get
That's
out of
us.
well, I don't know a whole lot of business people here in Florida, and of course I'm still working remote, but 2023, I will do that, the goals. I will set those goals before the end of this year, and of course going to Utah in January is going to be the official kickoff, just to get restarted. But I have to ask, and this is kind of embarrassing to me. I don't have a lot of time because of my job. I do use the system to thank secretaries and doctors that I deal with. Have not, gone over to approach them with the marketing end of it yet. However, my question is, for all of you, okay, for instance, I have someone who is a friend of mine who just reached out to me again today and said, hey, are you still in that little card business? I want to send, some cards for the company for Christmas. And we're going to talk tomorrow. But when someone approaches you like that, or someone like a cold call that is interested, what is the next step? Do you train them yourself? Do you try to get them on? I'm not good at Zooms to set them up, although that is another goal of mine for next year. But do you try to get them on the training calls? Do you have them watch the video, on the initial website? Or what is the proper way to get someone looking at the system and get them really started?
So I'll speak for us, and everybody probably does it a little different. So I want to hear from everybody, but how we do it, Gloria, is whether I'm meeting with them in person or over Zoom, is one, I want to give them an I need your mailbox link, and I want to send them something. Obviously, this person has gotten things from you before because they reached out to you. So usually what I do is I sit down and I ask them, she wanted to do holiday cards. I'm going to ask more questions. How many holiday cards do you want to do? Do you need to send gifts? And figure out what it is that she truly needs. And then say to her, awesome. I would, based on your answers, I would recommend either the pro or the executive package. There are lots of other things that you can do with the system, but let's start with your holiday cards and we can go from there and get the holiday cards out. And yes, I usually do help them with the holiday cards, or if their schedule and my schedule doesn't match, I direct them to the 101s or the holiday help sessions right now that are Monday through Saturday, and say, hey, you can hop on here. If they're an executive, they can ring the bell. And if they're a pro, then I direct them to the 101 training and the holiday card sending video that I did that's out on YouTube and is also in the user and the affiliate group. I think I also put it out on the post.
Okay.
So that's kind of what I do. It's like a new customer that we just had. He wants to do birthdays and holiday. He had other things he wanted to do. I said, let's work on the birthdays and the holiday. Holiday is most critical because there's a time crunch there. let's get that done. Then we'll work on your birthdays and then we'll talk about others. Because if you try to throw too much at them, they will be overwhelmed and quit, has been my experience. What about yours, Marie? I know.
So, yeah, Gloria, I do everything over Zoom. I don't do face-to-face. And so in the situation you just mentioned where someone phoned you and said, you know, I need to get some cards out for the company, I would show her the system over Zoom. I would open the account. Right now, I would probably just, you know, help her create a card and get it out. But
Right.
under ordinary circumstances, I would open the account, I would send them to the 101. And I would, and this is all in my follow-up email. Once they've opened an account, I, you know, send out an email welcoming them, giving them links to the various resources. And in my email, it says, once you have attended a 101, then here's the link to schedule a Zoom with me if you would like. You know, I'll spend an hour with you setting up any automations, you know, making sure you're comfortable with the system, so that they know they've got, you know, contact with me. It's not just me shoving them off on a 101 and then not doing anything with them.
Right, okay, thank you.
I love that, Marie. And how many, I know you do a lot of email nurturing. Do you have an automated sequence, or do you, I know when we used to have the emails every week, you'd craft something that went out. Do you have anything with the new signups? Because obviously you have that one email that goes out immediately. Do you have any follow-up emails after that with a new?
Well, they are on my email customer list, but it's, you know, I just create something each time depending upon what's going on.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't have a series created.
That's one thing that I have thought about doing. And I think that's something that we're going to work on for early in 2023 is I've had that, like we have our LFI shuffle digital business card that kind of is sort of like your email that says step 1, step 2, here's training videos and all of that. It doesn't say, I love your wording, once you've attended a 101 or watched these training videos, then you can schedule. I like that a
Right.
lot because it means when I sit down with them, they have a knowledge of the system. They're not deer in the headlights, and
Right.
they at least have some knowledge of the system. So I love that. And maybe as a team, we can come up with, instead of waiting for things to come out from corporate or see what's going on to send an email out. I was just talking to Nanette about this because she's like, I gotta wait and I send it out every month, but the company, because she's with 31, doesn't tell me about specials till almost the last minute. And by the time the customers get it, it's too late a lot of times. And I said, why don't you just pick something, a product, and give tips on how to use it? So an email sequence that went out, I used to have a card sequence that we had, and now we need to tweak it again with the system. But maybe an email sequence is a lot easier than a card sequence, because then you don't have to worry about where is it in training. It's easier to update probably the emails, but going out to set that first one, like you said, and maybe the second one is the power of a thank you, or customer retention, customer follow-up, nurture, you know, lead generation, and having a series of emails that would go out that you don't have to worry about every week, because Marie has the time to do it, but the majority of people don't have the time to once a week, or they don't feel like they have the time once a week to go in, and they struggle with what to say. So why not knock it out all at once and get 6 or 12 emails done, that you know the sequence, you need to train them on gifts or automations or even marketing, that you should be putting 10 to 15% back into your clients, whatever they spend. If they spend $100, you should be spending $10 to $15 back on that client in order to generate referrals. Just, you have so much knowledge, Marie, and you train so much and do seminars, that if you took some of that knowledge and just put it in a nurturing sequence, I just wonder if all of us wouldn't get our customers using the system more and getting more referrals if they were more educated on the system, instead of, oh, now I got to send a thank you, I don't remember how to do it, or now I need to send this, I don't remember how to do it. Does that make sense? Does that?
It does. And I guess that's why I'm leaning towards just wanting to work with a corporate client who understands the automation, wants it set up from the get-go, and then wants it just to run.
Yeah,
And
they
I
want to,
don't have-
you want them to pay you and they don't do it.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
and they don't worry about, oh dear, I've got to send a thank you. How do I do that?
Yep.
It's all set up and it just goes. Because honestly, well, you know, I'm just in retirement mode. I'm not out there doing seminars anymore. I don't want to be doing seminars anymore. I don't want to be doing this 8 hours a day. Yes, I'm doing it, but I'm not working like I used to work, and I don't want to. So, but what you're saying, Brenda, makes total sense. Create, go ahead, bite the bullet, just like with planning your curriculum as a teacher. Figure out the whole sequence and automate it.
Mm-hmm. Nanette.
I think you're onto something, Marie. We've got to get this welcome sequence stuff automated, whether it is a welcome gift, because we've got to use our system to reinforce the value of our system. So maybe it's a card, and a couple weeks later, a card and brownies, and then some marketing tips. But we use our system and then we reinforce it with email and text messages. But you're right, we need to have this stuff in the can. We grab and go, or we automate it, because otherwise it's not going to happen. And those customers that we've worked so hard to get are going to fall off.
Yep.
And that's disillusioning for both us and the customers.
Yep.
Well,
Let's face it, there isn't any industry where there isn't issues with customer retention. Like you always have people that are going to leave. I was just in a BNI meeting that said, and Andrea can back this up, they were saying, if you want to grow your chapter by 10 next year, you really need to bring on 22. Because the average is you will lose at least one member every single month. And the bigger the chapter you are, the more you'll lose every month. But nationwide, actually globally, the average is 1 a month per chapter lost. So we can't kick ourselves. I know we beat ourselves up. Mike and I beat ourselves up all the time about customer retention, and our customer retention numbers could be better. But you're never going to have 100% customer retention. It's just not realistic, I don't think. The more training I have in all different things, it's not realistic. But if you can take your if you're at 50% retention and you change it to 60% retention or 70% retention, now you've just increased your business tenfold, because you're bringing people on and you're not losing them as fast.
Well, I was also going to say, Tiffany Sosa has done a tremendous job using our system specifically to recruit and retain those customers. And I think that I know I could certainly put a lot more time into analyzing what she did there.
Yeah.
And she's constantly tweaking it. So,
And constantly adding more.
yeah,
So not being satisfied with if she had 10, nope, now I gotta add. She did the hard work of sitting down and as like you do with lessons, and you figured out your first 3 months or whatever it is, 4 months. And now you can do 1 or 2 at a time. Like you don't have to be stressed about having to get them done because now you've got 4 months to come up with more. And I love it. Tiffany has inspired me for sure. Because we get her automation. So I get stuff all the time. It's like, darn, we do good, but we don't do as well as Tiffany does. And we can aspire to do more and do more like Tiffany. And maybe we'll reach out to Tiffany and see if Tuesday,
I think Tuesday is the night that she does her call. So
Yeah.
that's why she hasn't been able to be on. So, that's another subject that maybe we need to talk about and see if Tuesday night is actually the best time to do these calls, or would it be better to do Monday night like Casey was doing and just keep it all in one day? I don't know, just food for thought. But we definitely want to do what we can to help people grow their business and come up with strategies, email sequences that would help everyone. I would imagine you would even help corporate get their email sequences out.
and I don't know what they're doing corporate anymore regarding emails, because we certainly aren't getting them the way that we were getting them.
Yeah.
And I don't know what Tiffany is doing in the way of email, because I'm not getting any emails from her. Everything I'm getting is in the mailbox.
Yep. Everything is through the mailbox. I think I do get some.
Well, and she's got a
Emails
very active
occasionally.
Facebook group. So
Yep. Yeah. So, those are all things to think about. And I just think, yes, she's not doing email, but I know she's working on an email nurturing sequence because her and I have talked a lot. And so she's working on that sequence that's going to kind of match the postcards, which then it's just another, like Mike said, the omni channel. If they
Right.
get it in the mailbox and they get it in the email, it cements what you're trying to teach or train in. So she is looking to do better also by adding the email marketing, because really at the end of the day, several of us have been in several companies, and your email list, yes, mailing addresses are great, but your email list is what helps you with something else. God forbid, I don't expect Mailbox Power to ever go away, but you've got to be building that.
Right.
And the bigger that list is, if there's a Black Friday special, if there's 500 people on your list and you get 10%, you're going to get 5 people that maybe take action on it. If your list is 5,000 and you get 10%, now you got 50. If it's 10,000, now it's 100. So it's just in the end, it's a numbers game. And the more people you have on the list, the more likely it's going to hit somebody at the right time that they need it. Even if it's only a 10 or a 20% rate of your email.
Right.
How can we do less work? Because we're in the same boat, Marie. We're in building mode, but we're in retirement mode. We are enjoying our grandkids and enjoying military and law enforcement retirements. And we don't want to work as hard as we used to. We want to work this part-time, but have a full-time income. So how can we all do better and grow our numbers and grow our income without spending a lot of extra time. That's really the goal, is strategizing to grow without putting a ton of extra time in. And it, better yet, let's reduce our time and grow our business. That would be even better.
So I have a question for Nanette, your new corporate client. Nanette, how did you get that particular client? Was that a referral?
No, it wasn't. So I have been using Mailbox Power for a couple of years with the course I've been teaching. And so we pre-printed thank you cards for the students to sign to the volunteers that came into the course. And one of those was a very good friend. When he got promoted to colonel, I made him a water bottle like this with his new rank insignia on it and his name. And so I think it just kind of finally grew on him, and he finally figured out, once the company was talking about doing automated birthday cards for their staff, which is now, as your company is dispersed, that's where the conversation started back in October, is, oh, we want to do birthday cards. Well, so that's how I got invited in for the conversation. And we sat down and had a conversation. From there, he took it into management and pitched it. And then he introduced me around to their marketing director, director of ops, a couple other people. And the more they were talking about it, the more excited they became, because they saw different ways they could use the system. One I never would have thought of is open enrollment for insurance as reminders. They were excited, believe it or not, to send out a postcard that will do reminders for time change. So fall back, spring forward, just some touches throughout the year, in addition to work anniversaries, and they're planning on doing something for those, but birthdays, half birthdays, Christmas, and who knows what else they're going to come up with. But they're now starting to make a list of what all they want to do. But surprisingly, they said, oh, we just want to do birthdays. And then the next conversation they had with me was after we do Christmas.
Mm. Well, the work anniversary was the other that my company mentioned. They were very clear they wanted to do work anniversaries and birthdays and holiday.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
for birthday, they're sending out a 2-pack of brownies with every birthday card.
Nice.
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 Yeah.
Yep. Andrea, Laura, Gloria, any challenges or any ideas from trainings, whether it be Mailbox Power trainings, or I know Andrea gets lots of B&I training. What are some ideas you have that the whole group can take away and maybe grow our businesses in 2023?
Basically, what I teach all the members is follow up. I mean, this sounds so simple, but people don't follow up.
Yep.
And that's what we have our hands on, and follow through. And I've been very neglectful with my Mailbox Power business, because I'm not doing what I know I
What you're
would teach
preaching.
someone else to do.
So what can you do differently, Andrea? Is it that you need to hire somebody to set up an automation for you? What is it that's going to help you get better at follow-up so that you can feel confident to talk to the businesses that you teach to follow up, to use a system like Mailbox Power?
I need to, and I've already started, in my head, because one of the things I teach and coach during this time is setting goals and putting it on the calendar, and I've got to put Mailbox Power on my calendar. That's where it should be my main business at this point. I'm with Maria and Gloria, no, it wasn't Gloria, that was Maria, and you in the retirement mode. That's really, my problem is my retirement mindset. So I've had to tell myself, I can't right now. I've got to put the pedal to the metal. And
It's
putting
not-
Mailbox Power on my calendar every day and that's why that's why I come on here, because you guys help me keep that,
So let's change your words. It's not a problem. It's a challenge.
True.
And start what I see, and you probably see this at BNI, is people are like, I need to work it more. So they feel like they need to put 2 hours or 3 hours a day on their calendar to work it, to feel like they're really making progress. And what I would recommend to you is just put 15 minutes on your calendar
Right.
to start with, and then a half an hour, and then an hour, and see where you get doing that. And maybe an hour is enough. Maybe you're like, no, I know I could do so much more if I put 2 hours on the calendar. And they don't have to be 2 hour blocks of time.
Mhm.
It can be 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes at lunch, and 15 minutes at dinner, and 15 minutes before you go to bed. Like,
Mhm.
if you chunk it down, you're more likely to do it. If you know you got to sit down and spend 2 hours doing something, especially in retirement mode, you're less likely to do it. I'm speaking from experience.
Hey,
Um,
and you're saying exactly what I say to everyone that I talk to, and I just need to hear it back. So I appreciate the two of you so much.
well, we appreciate you too. And you have a lot to share, and we look forward to hearing from you and your training, because you do know so much, Andrea, and you don't give yourself enough credit. And I think the more you speak it to Mailbox Power Group in like these calls and other things, and speak up with what you have learned in your years of wisdom and running BNI chapters, we can all benefit from that. Huge.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
I think the other thing too is words have a huge impact on us individually. And if we listen to ourselves talk and say retirement mode, that's exactly what it becomes, retirement mode. I choose to look at this as a lifestyle business. It fits my lifestyle.
Mhm.
I can have the time with my grandkids, and I can also have time to be able to do some fun things like work Mailbox Power. I think doing some of the technical stuff behind the scenes, for me, that's what I really like to do. I'm very uncomfortable when it comes to public speaking or getting out and networking. It's way outside my comfort zone, but it's something that I've chosen to try to change, because I do some virtual networking when Nanette is going to sub for me tomorrow, but
I hope. She did
I
let
hope.
me know she has a conflict again. So did you hear back?
Let me check my text and email. I haven't checked in the last hour.
Okay.
So
But
I was
anyway.
going to say, I wish I had a Michael.
So
Or I tell Eileen, I wish I had her Bob.
So Marie, that's a great point, because I run into so many people doing this business on their own, and they don't have a spouse in the background. But
Well, I do have a spouse, but he's not
well,
going to work the business.
you know what I mean. So can you hire a VA, or can you partner with somebody, even in Mailbox Power, and become a somewhat Mailbox Power couple, whether it be another female or not, where maybe what you're really good at and they're not, but they're good at something else that you're not. And now you get together and you power team and it grows both of your businesses. So it's kind of like trading. Like if you're at a networking group and somebody says to you, well, can we swap? You know, will you do designs for me if I give you a massage or a chiropractic adjustment or whatever,
Right.
where you trade services? You could do that with somebody else in Mailbox Power, because it's still growing both of your businesses, because you're sharing knowledge that the other doesn't have, or skills that the other doesn't have, or hire a VA to do those things that Eileen has Bob doing, or sometimes I have Mike doing. Those are all things that can be hired out.
Yeah. So that's something I had not thought about, is partnering with someone, in Mailbox Power. Because I think about, like you've got these really cool websites on your, what's it called, at the Shuffle, LFI.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It would take me forever to do that.
Yep.
And
So
I know that's the kind of thing Bob does. He does the websites and all that stuff.
So you partner with like Mike and I, and that's something that you're not good at. You give us the stuff, we build that. We're not as good with the wording for email sequences and that, and you're really good at it because of your bank training and other things. So maybe we swap. We build you Shuffle LFI cards, or help you with a website or video or whatever it might be, a design. And in return, you help us with our email sequence, and now both of us grow and help each other.
I like that. It's a good idea.
And I think really what we need to do is, I mean, there's enough business out there for all of us.
Yep.
And I think if we start to think about collaboration instead of competition, that I think we could all really grow our businesses a lot bigger than we have. Because each individual here has strengths that we don't, and I'm sure we have strengths that you don't. So Brenda's right. We can collaborate and work together and actually grow our businesses respectively.
Mm-hmm. So we're coming to the end of the hour. Any other ideas or last minute questions? Do you have a concern or a challenge in the business that you want to bring up before we end tonight? Nanette.
Okay. So as I was working with this large company to get their business, I sent them a big package of sample things from Mailbox Power with personalization on it and everything. Now that they've placed their first order, should I send a follow-up thank you card? What do you, or how do I
Yes.
recognize?
I would definitely send them a thank you and welcome to Mailbox Power. And it doesn't have to be gifts, because you've already showered them with gifts. Just even a gigagram, if you wanted to put a gigagram together instead of gifts, do a gigagram that would be helpful things when the trainings are, not that they're going to show up, although they've got lots of ideas. You've shared a lot of, as they use it, they think of more ways to use it. So a gigagram, or just a card that says welcome to Mailbox Power, and make sure you reinforce that there's customer support and how they get to customer support. And the trainings that are Monday through Saturday.
Well,
That's what I would do.
corporate was sending out the gigagram with all of that info.
Yes, except that it doesn't have Nanette's information on it. It's coming from corporate. So I still think as individuals, as the affiliate that the person signed up with, that you need to do something when somebody signs up. We shouldn't, as much as it's great that corporate was doing that, and I don't know where that stands
Right.
and whether they're still doing it or not, but it's on us. Yes, they are a Mailbox Power customer, but they are first and foremost, in my opinion, and this is my opinion, not corporate opinion, they are first and foremost our customers, and we want to retain them. Sure, Mailbox Power wants to retain them too, but your income depends on them being retained. And so what are you going to do from your end to retain them? And then anything Mailbox Power does is just bonus on top of it to
Right.
retain the customers.
So because they were sending that gigagram out, I, with all that information, all of that information is in my email that I send, but I do send a thank you, and often with a gift. But I had the same situation that you did, Nanette. I had already showered them with gifts. So they, with their thank you, they just got a thank you card this
Yeah.
time. But I do have to dash because I've got another Zoom.
No worries. Well, thank you, Marie. We appreciate you. And we look forward to seeing you next week on the call.
Thanks. Have a good night, everybody. Take
You
care.
too.
Any other concerns before we sign off for the evening or questions?
Brenda, do they have, I think it would be a neat idea if corporate would put that gigagram in the account that we could either purchase or just use it and then tweak it, with our information.
That has been brought up, and it hasn't been made available to us at this point. I think it's because they don't want the field tweaking it too much that the information then is missing, and they wanted to take on the responsibility of making sure the customers were getting it. But many of us said that was started after many of our customers came on, so we'd like to be able to have it to use to reach out to past customers. But with system changes and pricing changes, I think some of the information that was in those is changing. So it's OBE. And I think that's why, and they know what's coming, we don't. And so I think that's part of why we haven't. And maybe once things get settled and we're fully in the new building and up in 100%, not that we're not 100% operational, but you know what I mean? When you move into a new building, even if you're 100% operational, you're still trying to figure things out. Things are in different places, and just trying to get your footing in a new building and setting up the strategy for the new year. I don't know. We haven't heard, but hopefully some of that will come. But please, those type of things you need to put in the chat.
Mhm.
If you have concerns or you want things as an affiliate, you need to put them in the chat, because that's how, if a lot of us put it in the chat, that's when it gets acted on and things get put in place. If they just hear it from one or two people or on a call, it just doesn't go anywhere. So whether it's a customer focused or an affiliate focused, always, always, always put a comment, put it in the chat, because then they document it.
Where's Kathy when we need her, right?
Yeah, exactly. She was going to try to be on the calls. Yep. Reported issue. Yep.
These are inactive. The report an issue and feature suggestions are inactive.
But on the website, Nanette, in support, not on the post.
The little chat bubble.
Yeah.
Right. I know, but I had come back to this a couple of times to
So
put
put
it.
it in the chat.
Yep.
Again,
And
put it in the chat if it's not working.
Yeah.
because it might be something that broke and they aren't even aware that it's broke. So if you don't put it in the chat, they don't know.
Yeah. Good
So
point.
with that, we do need to wrap it up for the week. We look forward to seeing you all next Tuesday on the Mailbox Power Builders call. And if you have a chance between now and then to kind of look at your numbers for this year and start to plan out your numbers for next year or where you'd like to be at the end of next year and want to share those next week, we'd love to hear where you're at and where you want to get to so that we can help you get there. Because if we don't know where you are and where you're trying to get, it's harder to help. So.
All right. With that, as always, thank you for showing up to the call, and we will see you next week.
Thank you for everything. Bye, everyone. Have a great
Bye.
week.
Have a good
too.
week.